Howdy. For 4 years now, my wife and I have been writing a monthly publication called the Pamphlet. Many of you know me as my pen name, Wade John Taylor, or my wife as Elizabeth Jane Taylor. We just published our last 2 editions of the pamphlet, and after 4 years, that's coming to a close. That's really hard for us, and I apologize if this video runs long. This video specifically is for all individuals who have followed our monthly publication, supported our monthly publication, and in addition to that, everything that came after. Many of you know that by doing the pamphlet, it motivated a lot of individuals to ask me to run for office, which I did, and had a bit of a public life there for a bit. I never intended the pamphlet to be a public life, but it kind of turned into that. That's why I used a pen name. I certainly just wanted to write and tell the story of our nation's founding, and that's what I did. Along the way, I learned something. I learned a lot of things. I learned the true story about our nation's founding, and I tried to give that story to America. It didn't start out that way. My wife and I, we didn't know what we were doing when we started this, and we started it for our small little county of 7,000 people in the wilderness out here. And that small county somehow grew to a lot more. And from Washington State, we eventually grew through all 50 states. And beyond that, we started going to other countries. And last time I looked, about a week or so ago, as I was winding everything down, 65 countries had visited and checked out the pamphlet, and some of them quite regularly. I had no idea that any of this was possible and everything that happened because of it. And I wanted to say thank you to each and every one of my supporters, my wife's supporters, all of us out there. There's so many things that we do. I'm still the national chairman of the Independent American Patriots, formerly the Independent American Party. And I my term ends there in February, and I certainly hope to find someone to carry on the torch with that. But this message is not about that. There's much work to do in that regard, and in my capacity there, and that's a separate matter completely. This message is to all those who have personally supported me and my family through writing this publication. And I can honestly tell you that the truth is there. Every little bit of how our country was founded. The emotions, the feelings, the qualities of the people who created this nation. Why? The tyranny of the government. It's all there. And I can rehash this here, but it's in the pamphlet. You guys know that. We are done putting out new publications every month, and that's really weird for me. For 4 years, my life has been consumed with research and writing and editing and putting together this publication. We've had some help along the way, and I'm so grateful for all the writers who chose to participate in this endeavor from across the country. It's phenomenal, and thank you. So a lot of you guys are wondering why. Many of you who are reading kind of understand and get it, but I'm a man who follows Jesus Christ, the person who saved me from myself, and I follow those promptings from him. And it may seem strange to a lot of you who don't quite have that experience yet in your life. I can promise you that that's available to you, but this video is not necessarily about that either. This video is why we're hanging it up on the pamphlet, and I can tell you, I started this journey, of course, following my promptings with the Lord, and we served a church for 4 years to our fullest capacity. And that too had an abrupt, quick end as something else opened up, and the pamphlet opened up as a result of that. And we put our hearts into it, and lo and behold, the whole universe, the whole world has opened up to us because we're just following the promptings that we're given. And now it's run its course. We've did 4 years of that. I get the strongest promptings and the strongest feelings that our country's over. And despite our best efforts, there's nothing that we can do about it anymore. We've waited too long. And certainly there are good people in the fight. A few left. And if an election comes around, they'll get my vote, but I just don't think that there's going to be an election. And if there is, half of everyone's not going to accept the result. And I don't believe that the administration that is in control of this country will allow an inauguration to take place, regardless if it is not who they want it to be. So my feelings, my promptings, that's what I strongly believe is going to happen. And my direction from my maker is to circle the wagons. Those people who I love and adore and know me out here, well, we're doing what we can to prepare for what we feel is coming. And it's not that we want it, but it's all falling apart. No matter which way it happens, and I've gone over those reasons in the pamphlet, especially the last issue or two, and whether it be economic or anyway, I'm not going to spend my time here going through them, but there's too many ways in which the pillars of our society have been taken out from under us. And that platform is sinking into the waves. And really, the only thing that we're waiting for is the music to stop. And the last thing that's holding this country together is the faith in the country, the faith in the dollar, the faith in that it's gonna be okay, that we have some people who are gonna represent, and we don't. The legislative branch, I think, was the first in this country to lose the faith of the American people. Then it was the administrative branch, and now finally it's the judicial branch. All three protections of the people have been compromised by wicked and terrible people who are selfish. You can replace the term wicked with selfish if it makes you feel better. I don't really care. But it all boils down to many individuals who really don't care about you and I doing whatever they can to make as much money or as much power and as much fame and glory for themselves as they can. And that's never been what I'm about. I've always been about delivering a message of hope, unity, trying to get people to get off their butts and do something about their awful situation. But ultimately, I've done all the warning that I can. First in the spiritual context and there in the national context. If you don't get it by now, it's too late because it's already happening. And if you're just now coming to that conclusion, you have minutes, moments. So use your time wisely. And that's what I recommend you do. Use your time wisely because there's not much left. Your family, I hope, is the most important thing on this earth. And the most important thing above this earth, so I hope, is your creator, your divine maker. And I certainly hope you find your way to that relationship. My wife and I have been fighters for a long, long time. 8, 9 years. We've been just devoting our lives to everybody else. I wouldn't take a moment back of that time and I'd do it all over again. But when my maker tells me that my calling is done and it's time to move on to my family, well, I have to listen to that. I know what's coming. You guys know what's coming. Everyone's afraid to say that the world as we know it is coming to an end because you're gonna sound like a fool. Well, you can sound like a fool like me. I'm here to tell you today, the world as we know it is coming to an end. Our government cannot make it through this. Tyranny is too encroached, corruption's too encroached, we're too divided. And too many of you, and if you're one who has been fighting, this excludes you, too many of you have done nothing other than just vote. And that's not enough anymore. And it hasn't been enough for a long time. And quite honestly, it was never enough. That was never what we were supposed to do, is just vote and hand it all over to somebody else. We've advocated everything. And because of that, they've ruined it. And it's about ready to completely fall apart. And I think you all need to prepare for that. Keep your heads about you. Don't be doing something stupid. Now's not the time to land yourself in jail, because that's the worst place you'd want to spend the next few months, weeks, whatever it's going to be. But it's going to be a terrible time. And I'm not going to preach about that. I'm not going to talk about that. I know what's coming. And I'm at peace with it. I know where I'm at. I know what I have to do now. And as much as I wish I could hold on to the pamphlet forever and push these things out, there's a lot of history I'd like to teach. There's so much that I want to do. It's a passion. My wife and I are grieving because it's time to put this down and move on. We enjoyed it. It sounded crazy when we started it, and we didn't know what it was for, but we've come to love this thing that the Lord has put into our life. And all those people who have helped support it and push it out there, and thank you. It has been wonderful. But it is now time for my family and I to focus on our preparedness and self-sufficiency. I've got pigs to take care of, chickens to take care of, and turkeys, goats, and rabbits, and most of all, I have a family to take care of. And above all of that, I have a wife who really needs some care right now, and some time to back away from as many things as we can of this worldly chaos and focus on raising and loving our family. Trying to teach them how to survive in a world that we ourselves are not prepared for. But if we teach our children to be resilient and to learn how to start fires and do things that they're going to need, then maybe, just maybe, they'll be around. And if we teach them the information contained in the pamphlet or our histories, then maybe, just maybe, this concept of liberty and self-determination will survive. Right now, it all hangs by a thread. Many know what that means. And it's up to you and me to determine whether or not that's going to survive. And fighting in the ballot box is not where that fight is right now for me. Making sure my family's going to have some food, getting some seeds and things, garden tools that I'll need for the future that I don't necessarily have right now. Just looking at those things that might be a little bit old, need to be replaced. These are the things where I'm now turning my attention. My farm has been put on hold for years, and it is in desperate need of a lot of attention. I've got pruning to do, and got to get a scythe so I can start whacking some field down and create some fire breaks in between my precious places on my property. I've got things to do, and I hope that you also have things to do. It is not the time to freak out. It's not the time to panic. I recall a time years ago, I don't know, I think it was during the pandemic, I was doing a series of town halls throughout the counties here. Private town halls where citizens were coming together trying to figure out what to do. And a nice lady, elderly lady, who first time she had attended these town halls, is all of a sudden she had finally realized that, my gosh, you guys, they're trying to kill us. The government, you realize what they're doing with these mandates, the vaccines, and this. It had just hit her like, oh my gosh. And of course, those in the know at the time, it wasn't any big shock to us. We just, they are, and it's okay. We've got this. We know. But that moment just came to my mind as a prompting, and so I figured it was worth repeating now. There will be a moment here real soon where a lot of people start waking up and seeing things as they are. That's not the time to be caught out in that chaos. So get your stuff done prior to that. I've ran 16 minutes on this video so that's far too long, and much longer than a lot of people want to listen to me anyway. Sure, I'll get the crazy ridicule and all that. There's much more that I could say, and I could babble. You guys know me. I could babble for 45 minutes on everything that the world as I understand it and as it has been revealed to me. And you guys know where that comes from. But if you want to know, you know how to get in touch with me. I'm as neighborly as I always have been. But as far as my public life, that is winding down and coming to an end. And I'm very thankful for it. I'm glad to have served. Many of you don't know that, oh gosh, it's June of 1990, June 1st, 12 hours after graduation, I was on a plane at basic training. A long time ago. 34 years, a long time ago now. That was a life-changing experience, and that was 4 years, 4 months of the toughest time of my life up to that point in time. But it prepared me for what was next. And everything I've done has prepared me for what is next. And I know God has prepared you for what's next. Because I know that's how He operates. All you got to do is trust Him. It'll be all right. Anyway, thank you for your support. Thank you for your love, your kindness. I love each and every one of you. I truly do. This has been one of the high points of my life, being able to serve you all. And thank you. I honestly thank you. The pamphlet website is going to stay up for the duration of the year at least. We'll be able to print off. We have some availability of old issues and stuff like that for a few more months of printing supplies perhaps, and then we wind it down. We will be completely, the whole business and every end of everything is going to be completely shut down by the end of the year. I will not comply with a stupid mandate from the government that says I have to name everybody who donates money and all this other stuff that can kiss my rear end. The government's not going to be around that long anyway. But so that's where things are at. That's where we're at. That's where our family's at. We love you. Thank you. God bless each and every one of you. I'm praying for you. I really am. Make the right decisions between now and when it's too late to make decisions, I guess, when fate takes over. And thank you for being part of this journey. God bless you. And God bless all of those who stand for liberty and freedom. Thank you.